Alright, hello and welcome back. I'm starting with the usual disclaimer as always. Nothing here is monetized, nothing is for sales, there's no ads on the YouTube, there's nothing in my Discord. You can buy nothing at all that I make money off of except just straight trading, alright? And this time, I have with me a guy who is not a currency or commodities trader as me, or a forex trader as you'd like to call it, and hasn't been so his entire life. What's up?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, so I have a few questions for you. I'm quite curious because a lot of people have been asking me, and actually, before I want to ask you the questions, I want to kind of certificate you. Is it? Am I right in saying that you've never been a wagey except like I know you had like a few months at some bullshit over a decade ago?
Yeah,
Okay, and would it be fair to say that you're relatively wealthy? You know, top 1%, or that's not relative, quite wealthy,
yeah,
and you make your income through the market. Is that correct? Stocks and
yes,
options, right?
yes.
All right. So could you tell me a little bit more about what you do?
Basically, I started off years ago
Yeah, long
just
time.
trading shares, and only in the past couple of years that I finally began trading options. And when I'm saying options, I mean sell side. I only bought options a handful of times,
Mm.
and I just to me it was just it's like all see when you're buy side, it's
Yeah,
all or not. You're either right or you're wrong.
a lot of
I don't
people,
like that.
a lot of people that are watching me don't know what sell side, buy side mean. They don't know the difference between selling calls and buying calls. Could you just explain
Okay,
that?
so basically, when you're buying, somebody has to sell it to you. Okay, so I'm the person that sells it.
You're the one that
One,
knocks.
one second. One second.
All right. You there?
Okay, so sell side is basically so once you own 100 shares of a company, you can sell one contract to somebody wanting to buy that option. So I'm the guy that sells it.
Mm-hmm. No, 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 not this. And how long you been doing that? Just for a few years?
Yeah, couple years.
Okay. Open up the Investopedia. So a lot of questions I get are very like beginner wise questions. I thought there would be more like actual traders that are watching me, and a lot of them are
Mm-hmm.
in the stock market. A lot of them are just standard classic stock traders. They haven't put
Mm-hmm.
on Wall Street bets yet and started with options. But um, so I'm curious how would you elaborate on your current strat? And do you see any overlap between how I trade and how you trade? I think you're pretty familiar with how I trade, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody is a little different. I mean,
But like,
basically,
yeah,
when I open a trade, um, it's sometimes the goal is for me to get assigned. Sometimes I don't want to get assigned. It really depends
mm,
on the price of where it's at and where I think it's headed, especially by the expiration date.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And
So,
um,
so expiration date is when the contract ends and the signed is.
yeah,
We gotta explain it, you know.
yeah. So the expiration date is when the contract ends. So basically, with an option, so if you were to say a call option,
Mm.
so when I sell a call at a strike, I'm agreeing that by a certain date I will make the strike plus whatever the premium is,
Mm-hmm.
and then the buy side will get the chance to buy at the strike even if
Mm-hmm.
it's above the strike.
Premium is kind of like
So which means that
dividends, right? For selling.
the premium is basically um I mean dividends and the premium are both income,
Yeah.
but I would say the difference between premium and dividends
Mm-hmm.
is that the the dividends, well, I mean, a company could choose not to pay a dividend, but a dividend is basically paid like once they announce it, it's yours if you have the shares.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, I mean, like options, there's an substantially more risk because what can happen is a share could go way past the strike,
Yeah. What
and
is the strike for
and
someone that doesn't know?
if if the strike is
What is the strike?
the strike is the price that I'm agreeing to sell my shares at ahead of time. And the other side will get to buy my shares at that price, even if it's above the strike.
Mm-hmm.
So say if, um, so there's a chance that I've had this happen a handful of times where the company announces a dividend
Mm-hmm.
and the shares get called away at a time, and then I lose the right to even the dividend
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
the dividend is paid on the ex dividend. Well, not paid, but
Yeah. But you're still
the person that has the
selling the
shares,
underlying asset, right? So, but
yeah,
yeah. I'm curious. What is your strat? And also, another thing you said, that you said sometimes you want to get exercise, sometimes you don't. Someone
yeah.
might not know what that means. What does that mean?
So basically, sometimes, like if I see a drop in the market coming,
Mm-hmm.
I may pick a strike that's a little bit more aggressive, which is closer to the market price at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why, so basically, if what I've had happen a number of times is, so say like I might get assigned and say the market price went like a percent or two above my strike.
Yeah, your entry
So
price, right?
right then, I lost out on a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But then the following Monday
Okay.
or Tuesday, it could fall under that. So then really, if I were to buy in then, which is my shares that I sold with getting assigned, I could technically buy my entire position and some,
Yeah.
but that's harder to do than just selling contracts for premium because it's like there's just more every time you make the strategy more complicated, you're adding more variables to it.
So do you usually own the stock as well? Are you using it like a hedge, or how are you? Are you?
I'm using it mainly for um because what I used to do was just hold shares, but then what annoyed me was whenever there was a downturn, I never like if it was a downturn and a stock didn't have a dividend, I just would have less. And
Mm-hmm.
that annoyed me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna start playing options. And I realized that even if I get assigned, so like what I'll do is I'll have like say maybe 3 to 5 different companies that I like. And if I'm in danger of getting assigned, I'll look at these other companies and I'd be like, okay, if I get assigned, where would I want to go next? And
One.
basically, the reason I do that is because, so say if like, a like sometimes a company will just be overbought, and then
Hmm. On
if
Nvidia.
I think it's going to come down, if I think
On
it's going to
Nvidia
come
right
down
now.
again, what?
So I opened Nvidia right now, kind of like Nvidia, because I know you've been deep into
Yeah,
Nvidia,
I
right?
got assigned. I got
Shares,
assigned.
everything. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I got assigned a while back, and right now I've been playing Google
Google Play.
because to me Google is way easier to trade than Nvidia.
Hmm.
It's it doesn't move as much, but I mean also from a fundamentals perspective, Google is worth half of what Nvidia is. To me, that's crazy.
Has it grown
And
that much? What the fuck?
so I'm so basically I'm waiting for Nvidia, to
Holy
basically
shit!
come
It
down.
has a four trillion market cap on Nvidia right now. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
yeah, it's the first one to
Holy
be there.
shit!
Yeah, I'm waiting for it to come down, maybe at the next earnings call or something.
Okay.
So I'm waiting for something like a move down,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm going to go in with a longer term put.
Mm-hmm.
And a put is basically I'm agreeing to pay a certain amount per share, even if it's worth less.
It's like shorting, right?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not. I mean, it's not shorting because it's. It's the you're both either way. You want it to come down,
Mm-hmm.
but the position doesn't hold the same amount of risk.
No, that's
Uh,
correct.
so so I'm gonna wait for a move down. Meanwhile, I'm making money on Google, and I'm gonna do a long term put, like maybe like 6 months at least.
So you're selling
With
like
the
quarterlies or what? You're not doing dailies or 0 day
Well,
calls.
I used to see when I first started. I used to do more short term. I would do weeklies
Mm-hmm.
or bi-weeklies or something, and it's really the problem with those is that the shorter the term, the riskier the option.
Mm-hmm.
And like as I'm growing, I just can't put up with constantly looking at it. Like, where is it? Where is it now? If you go longer term, all the like basically like all these violent movements that can really affect the value of the option, especially intraday, it doesn't become like at the edges are more rounded if you get what I mean. If you
Yeah,
go
yeah.
longer
Just hop
term,
into the weekly. I'll
and
disconnect
that's
like that. I put it up on the chart. That was it, just so people can see
uh,
what you meant. Like the gapping is gone and all that when I hopped up to the weekly.
yeah.
Also, I'm curious about another thing. Two things
Uh,
actually that I want to get to. What is your strategy on stocks as well? That's something a lot of people will be curious about. I've gotten a lot of questions about that. Not you specifically, but what about stock trading?
like, w- wait. So, are you asking how do I pick something?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do I pick
When you enter, when you
a?
leave,
Well,
and why?
I don't. I don't like. Basically,
Because I know you don't. I know you beat the index, and you have for. I've known you for
basic.
a
Okay,
whole
so
decade.
when I sell shares, I typically like to do it by getting assigned.
Mm-hmm.
I don't no, typically sell shares itself anymore. I might start doing that again in the future when I don't rely on options as much. Like when I because really, as I'm growing, I find that I'm doing more longer term options. Eventually, I'm going to stop entirely because the yield on my portfolio is going to be enough right there out to where I don't need any additional income. The dividends are enough.
You could argue that it's
Yeah.
already enough, but yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm trying to I'm trying to beat the market even more by these downturns that,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
that brings me to Spy. What do you think about Spy now? That's an interesting one. It's at an all time high right now, 2.5.
it's at a, yeah,
No, six point
it's
five.
at a high.
6.25.
I don't yeah. I Okay, well, in April when it fell a lot, it the market was paying attention to Trump and the idea of these
Mm-hmm.
tariffs. And to be honest, I was a little shocked when it fell because Trump has been saying for years how we're getting screwed on trade, and
Me too.
he's not wrong. But
Yeah,
the fact that it's at the level that it is now, kind of surprises me a little bit.
me too. Because everything he's doing now is the same shit he had on that plastic poster, whatever it was, when he had that speech with all the rates.
In some
It's just less
cases, the
publicized.
tariffs are even higher.
Yeah, but it's just not as publicized. It's different now. It's negotiations, talks, da 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 da.
Basic
Da.
hasn't he wasn't able to make a trade deal with the Canadians.
Yeah.
Okay, and he the only letters that he sent were mainly to smaller countries where I don't think we trade with them a whole lot
Mm-hmm.
anyway. So basically, the bigger countries, um, he wasn't even able to do anything with them either. Like I said, and he said he was making progress with China. I doubt it. I don't think he was really made progress with anybody because see in China they don't have elections like we do here
Yeah.
in the U.S.
They'll wait it
Because
out
so like
often. Yeah.
they're they're gonna wait him out. They don't
Mm-hmm.
care.
Mm-hmm.
They'll put up with it for another couple of years, and then he's out, and then they're hoping somebody that plays ball with them will get back in.
Mm-hmm.
Because in China, they plan 30 years at a time. Over here, every 4 years, we go another direction,
Yeah.
and then we wonder why the Chinese are beating us.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
it's
very frustrating. Yeah, 4 years of, a better business environment, a lower regulatory burden, lower tax burden, and then it all reverses and everything. It's constantly
yeah,
changing and it's going nowhere really. It's pulling one direction and pulling back.
yeah. So I don't think he's made progress. I mean, if he's made progress, it's minuscule. And I think that, um, I mean, right now he announced 30% tariffs on Mexico and 35 on the EU. And he said that if they retaliate, either one, they're going to go higher. And the market's down on that, which means, this is the beginning of a possible trade war. And, what's going to happen when that comes out that he didn't, that the same thing might happen with China? You know, typically, August and September are bad months in the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we're right before that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you notice, August 1st is when he wants to announce or will start these tariffs. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I have a feeling that pretty soon that these levels we're seeing now, it's probably going to come down again because we
I
haven't had
think
a
the
down
same too.
month since April.
Yeah, and it
It's
wasn't.
basically
It
April at
was
bottom.
barely down. It went right back up again so fast.
Yeah, it basically it fell and then it's been up ever
It
since.
wasn't like
And
under
I've been
Biden
calling,
where it was down for 2 fucking years,
you
from
know,
22 to
and
24.
if you look at the revision to Spy's EPS, you'll see that it's been revised down many times because of the tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
I think that the reason why the market hasn't really reacted to any of the negatives lingering is because the earnings reports have not been released yet. I think that when those start coming out is when you're going to see more movement,
yeah,
and
for
that's
sure.
why I kind of want to get assigned
Yeah,
with my latest Google trade. That way, I'm cash, or I'll have a nice like amount ready to go into my next trade which I'll get quite a bit more for if the market does do what I think.
Hmm.
And then I could use that as a hedge because
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
I,
Especially if it's like a quarterly, something that isn't
yeah.
affected by all these volatile changes and bullshit. Also, another question I have. It's a bit more nuanced, but it
Mm-hmm.
relates to. Do you remember we had the discussion in the Discord? There's a guy using a prop firm. What do you think about prop firms? Do you have any like opinions on them or whatnot?
I don't like them.
Do you know what they are? Like, are you familiar with them?
So basically, they basically let you trade their money, and then they let you keep a piece of it, whatever it
Yeah.
is, percentage wise. And
You know, his prop fund. I don't understand how it goes around because listen to this. You don't have to pass a test. You don't have to do anything. You pay I think $500, $600, and then you get a $50,000 account. And like 99% of people are gonna blow that account. So how does that go around? How the fuck does that work? What the fuck?
listen, I remember seeing them years and years ago, and I was like, "Oh, you can make money trading." And
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
the way it was advertised,
yeah.
it wasn't like clear to me. It wasn't until I started reading into when I realized they would give me money, and I was like, "What do you mean you're gonna give me money?"
Hmm.
And I was like, "How does this work? You just give people you don't know who they are money
Yeah, they pay you
that you've
five
never met
hundred, and then you
before."
give them 50,000. Yeah, it makes no fucking sense at all. It makes absolutely
I
zero
don't
fucking sense.
listen. I think that
There are also a lot of scammers affiliated with them. Like for example, as we
mhm,
know, like a famous scammer, Nick Benzino, big
mhm,
scammer. You remember him, right?
mhm.
He's affiliated with that. What's that thing? They put up a girl that does like pretends to trade or some shit. Lady with crypto or
The
whatever.
oh
Lady with
Oh my god, there
crypto.
was what's her Twitter or X or whatever.
Lab of
Like,
crypto, and it's like some girl. Yeah, I'm on the channel now.
is that
Lab of
is
crypto.
that what that's called? I think
Yeah, it's Lab of
is
Crypto.
that what it's called?
I think it has changed its name like 70 times. And it's just some girl that's hiding behind Nick, and then they sell these prop accounts. And then, oh, there's even a picture of Nick Benzino here, right here. You'll see it on the video. But yeah, easy party's over. Bitcoin and stocks bounced hard. Now comes the real tips. There's some bullshit. So he put
Oh,
up
yeah,
the
yeah.
fake.
I remember it was
Uh-huh.
another. It was called something else. It was called like Crypto Gal or some.
Yeah, they've changed names so many times because they scam. They have to. But he just put some. So Nick Benzino is all over this. But yeah, so when you hop in there, they sell these prop accounts, and then I don't know what happens. You probably get jacked, like we did basically many years ago now, 5 years ago, whatever. Um, that wasn't for a super huge amount, luckily, but and that was unrelated to any prop tearing, but it was related to Nick Benzino and Arif from. I've already written it in my beginner guide to stay away from Scandinavian capital markets. I don't know if you looked at it. It's not a legitimate broker, but anyways, yeah, they just put some girl as the face of the channel, and then they jack you. Any criticism in there, you just get banned. You know that Discord they have or whatever. How easy it is to get banned in there.
Yeah, it's such bullshit. Like these
Yeah,
people, like
yeah. And here's the other thing. If you are, you know how brokers sell profitable accounts to hedge funds. That is what I would consider real prop trading. Like, if you're profitable for let's say 5 years in the IC markets, you're doing some real good shit. You're doing like 50% a year. They're gonna sell that shit to a hedge fund. It has happened to me many times, but I don't like it because they have too strict conditions. And they'll come and be like, "Hey, can we give you $5 million? 4, 2, 1?" And they'll talk to you, call you, message you. They'll talk to some guy on WhatsApp and blah blah blah. And if you can come to terms with them, sign a contract, they'll move over $1 million to you. That's what I consider real prop trading. But they have super strict rules, dude. Super strict.
yeah, I agree.
That's But then you need 5 years of criteria, and they are buying the info after broker, and then they're evaluating you individually. You can't just go to a hedge fund and just say, "Hey, can I buy
Uh-huh.
50K for 500K?" Like, bruh, I want to trade. No, that would never work. So how does that work? Because we have a guy in the Discord that is prop trading. What do you think is gonna happen?
Listen, I remember you told me about, I forget his name,
Arif,
that
Nicholas
he
Arif,
did. No, no, there was another guy. Was one of your other friends.
the Billy in the Discord. Who?
I don't remember what was his name.
Okay.
I forget his name, but I know he knows you. And then you told me that, I remember you telling me that that he signed up for a site that had something to do with those jerk offs.
Oh yeah, he just lost
And
his money.
then
Yeah, he just got instantly jacked fucked off.
I forget his name. What was his name?
Hey, don't
Oh
say
my
his name
god.
regardless. Don't say his name regardless. 'Cause I
Yeah.
haven't asked to say his name. He might be annoyed or whatever. I don't know. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, some guy I know. Yeah, it was. But that shit was related to Nick Pensino. But I told this dumbass like, bro, you're gonna lose a ton of money. Like, and he was like, no, it's legit. Blah blah blah. And they just stole. They
Well, see,
froze the
here's the
account.
thing. Here's the thing.
Mm.
Okay, they can only do that so many times.
But they do it to young people with not a lot of money. They don't do it with $5 million accounts. They do it with like 20K, 50K to
No, but
young people.
what I'm saying is, listen. They can only do that so many times before they get their reputation grows and grows and grows, and then it's gonna bite them in the ass.
But they are adapting like this lab of crypto. I can send you the fucking channel. Lab of
I
crypto.
see it.
Yeah, here we go. I'll send it to you. Lab of crypto shit. Like they've just changed the name 20 times now. And it's just some like that's how he has adapted. He's hiding behind some girl now, using a girl's face. That probably gets you more clicks. And then what the fuck? He never even used to do crypto. Why? Is it the popular thing right now? I don't know. Scam alert.
No, it's popular because of the potential gains, but like it's mostly bullshit because you can just make a coin and call it whatever you want.
Mm.
Like I've seen so many people just get rug pulled.
Oh yeah. There's even a
And
website for it.
it's so bullshit. Like, I remember hearing about Bitcoin back in like 2011, and I was like, "Oh, look at this!" And I remember like I opened up a miner, and I was like using back then. You could use like your,
Oh yeah, yeah.
like your like CPU, or even it was a little maybe a little before that. Like back when it first started,
Uh huh.
and you could use like you didn't need like these like 5090 GPUs to,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to mine. You could use like very,
Mm-hmm.
barely any electricity, and I remember trying, and I just got so annoyed. I was like, the hell with this.
Yeah.
Um, I mean,
So
like, good.
yeah, I have another question regardless of crypto and those scammers and stuff. So a lot of people are brand new, like I said a couple times now, that are watching my videos, like, and they are straight up, they're just wages, bro, and they say they want to stop being wages. They say they want to work remotely, independently, don't have a boss. They want to make more. What would you say to them?
Wait, what? You said that they want a boss? Is that or don't
They
want to?
don't
Wait,
want a boss. They want to work remotely. They want to
listen.
be free. Yeah, listen.
You either um be a boss or you're gonna get bossed around. It's one of those. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
and most people, they just, like I said before, they, when people want to make money, they don't automatically think, hey, let me build a portfolio. They think, oh, I just need a job.
Mm-hmm.
And when you ask people, why don't you invest or trade, they go, well, I don't want to lose my money. Well, when you get a job, there's a chance you can get laid off.
chance you can waste
You
your
know what I
rest of your
mean?
life too. You know.
Yeah, so you could be trying to build a career, you get laid off, and then who the hell knows if you're going to get another job? Which is kind of the same thing when you think about it. Either way, you're losing what you're building.
And also,
You know,
you're
but
losing potential. You know, I genuinely don't believe that trading is too difficult for anyone. I genuinely don't believe that.
the
It
issue is
it,
that
it is not that
there's
difficult.
when the issue is that a lot of people they watch movies and they see all the crooks in finance, and there are a lot of crooks,
Yeah.
and then they're like, well, I don't know what I'm doing, and then there's all these crooks, and they think like, well, how can I get around that? I don't know what I'm doing. Well, that goes with anything. If you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna get burned. So
Yeah.
when you educate yourself
Hmm.
and listen to others with experience that are around these crooks, like we've met a few,
Yeah, we have.
you should do all right. Now, that's not to say that new crooks aren't on the horizon,
Always are,
but
bro.
that's another story.
They're all over, bro. There's more of them than legitimate people. At least in like making videos. Like everything is monetized, selling courses, bullshit, bullshit. Can't really find any good forex for a YouTube
Like
channel. I think.
what I don't understand, see, when you're selling a course,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's saying to me, instead of trading and making money,
yeah,
you took time out of your day that you could have been using to trade
yeah,
to write this course that you're using to make an income from.
yeah. Hmm.
That says to me that you can't trade, because if you could, why would you need to sell
Yeah,
a course for
yeah.
money?
Everyone that has been trading for a long, long while and are very profitable have so much money. I don't see the purpose in selling these $20 courses, 19.99. I don't see the fuck I would get out of it, and what would I do with that? Waste my time? Trade less?
Yeah.
So yeah, it wouldn't make sense. But also, dude, I get all these questions about, like I said, beginner questions, and then I say, yeah, just watch my videos and read my beginner guide, and it's pretty much laid out there. Just with the info on my videos, I've gone through all my bankroll management, risk management, TA, some psychology, and that kind of stuff. And just with that, if you follow that, you can do all right. You can probably pull 20% a year. You could have just looked at my trade, copied them as well. Did 10% last month, up 8.5% this month. Not that copy trading is a good idea. It's a bad idea, but people don't do it. That's the point. They don't really like when I tell them, "Oh yeah, just do this." They don't do it. Why do you think that is?
Because it's not a typical way to make money.
I think they're lazy. What do you think?
I, like, dude, it's not a typical way that people. It's not a typical career path. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you know, people, you know, people will open up like retirement accounts and all these kind of fucking accounts that are that are shit for one reason or another,
Yeah.
and they'll take money from a job and put money into funds that they have no idea
Mm-hmm.
like what's in it. It's just you know, and then when they lose, it's like, well, oh, they're confused. Well, it's like it goes with anything. Like you need to really like because finance isn't really taught
No.
to especially kids. Okay, it's not
No.
really
Yeah.
taught, and um, it leads to people like just not knowing a damn thing
Yeah.
about money.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I wonder what would happen if people were educated with money.
There's also a
You
lot of
know,
like dumb, straight up dumb shit, bro. Like people thinking it's quick money. I get some messages on Instagram sometimes like, "Well, can I give you 2 grand, and then can you give me 50 grand back?" Like, no, bro. It's gonna take me over a decade. Like, fuck you. It's not. It's not how it works.
No, because when people hear commodities or forex, they think of like, oh, I'm gonna make like 800% a year,
Yeah.
but they don't understand that like to get those kinds of returns, you need to take such risk
Yeah.
and you need to have such leverage. You
Yeah.
have to hit those trades perfectly, okay?
Yeah.
And and you might get lucky every once in a while, but the idea that you could do it consistently over and over and over again, nah,
Yeah.
not gonna happen.
My actual aggression fund already blew. Like this one lasted for less than a month. But somehow it sells better than Actron long term. I don't know why. The one I posted up, I was up 400% for the month or whatever, and then it blew in like a month and a half. People don't care. They just buy back in, right back in. They lose their money and then buy back in. They're like fucking gamblers. While Actron long term has been averaging about 55% or so a year, but
Well, it's
it's smaller than Actron aggression.
um,
There's a lot of quick money thinking to like the name of forex has been polluted quite a lot. People associate forex with just ultra quick money. Have you not noticed that? If you search it up on
yeah, that's what
YouTube
I'm
as well,
saying.
yeah. If you
It
search it up on
it's like
YouTube, it's
yeah,
like how I make five
it's
thousand
all
dollars a
these
day.
like it's all of these prop firms and these
Yeah,
like women that like tell you that they trade and I've seen so many, and like some of them have like OnlyFans, and then they say that they're traders, and it's
yeah.
like the most ridiculous. And they all trade forex. Like I'm like I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, yeah, like the divorced rich woman that puts like CEO owner in her bio on Insta.
Yeah, like I've seen. Oh my god.
Yeah. It's a lot of that shit. It's so fucking stupid,
I'm like
dude.
I don't know what's going on here, but I. But you don't see that kind of stuff with like the stock market. You don't. It's only
There's a
with
lot less. Yeah,
forex.
yeah. The name is so
I don't
polluted.
understand.
That's why I always say currencies and commodities, because I trade normal currency pairs and gold, silver, oil, and that kind of stuff. And not Bitcoin, none of that. So just currencies and commodities. When I say forex, I feel like a scammer, even though I'm not even selling anything. I just make these innocent
Put it
videos.
this way: as long as you're not charging for anything, I don't see how you could be scamming anybody.
No, I don't know if you watched any of the videos. You're in the Discord. There's
Uh-huh,
no links for nothing there. I mean, except for like
uh-huh,
recommended brokers. Um,
uh-huh,
but the only link in the bio is for the Discord. That's it.
uh-huh.
And by the way, for anyone that's if anyone's listening as well, you don't sell anything as well. Just so I know you're not. You don't have
I,
a
I, I,
sale.
I,
You don't even have a
yeah,
channel. Nothing. You just do your own stuff.
it never even crossed my mind.
You're a very
I
private
was
guy.
like, why would I do that?
You're a very private guy. You don't even have an Instagram, I think. Do you? You have an account, but not anything there.
I don't post anything online. I
You're a
don't
very
even.
private guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
that adds credibility, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Because why
Uh-huh.
would you just bullshit and like claim things and that without any potential gain? But
Uh-huh.
here's a question I want to ask you though. So we're not gonna
Uh-huh.
disclose your wealth, obviously, but you are wealthier than almost every fucking one in America, right? So what would you recommend for someone that say let's break it into three categories: someone that wants to be a stock trader, someone that wants to be a forex trader, or someone that wants to be a options trader. What would you recommend each of them? We start with the stock trader.
So what's the question again? You said
What would you recommend them? What would they do to start out?
to do like how do you start? Well, I would say
Mm-hmm. For a stock trader, let's begin with that.
I would say first you need to like figure out what what you think because everybody has talents, right? And you need to figure out what at least what you think you're good at,
Hmm.
okay? And um once you figure that out, there's definitely a way you can use that to make money. Because too many people try because when I was in school like years ago, I remember there were certain subjects, no matter how hard I tried,
Well, you
I
just
could
sucked
never
at. Yeah,
understand
yeah, yeah,
what
yeah,
the hell was going on. But then there
yeah.
was other subjects I didn't have to try,
It's easy.
and
Yeah,
I got
it's strange.
yeah.
It's strange. Yeah,
Stocks are like that kind of too, because you see you'll tend to notice things happening, but then in other industries you're like you don't know what the hell is going
hmm.
on. You try to figure it out and you're always wrong. Yeah, so people need to figure out what they're good at spotting
Yeah.
and
But
how do you
how
grow
would they
with.
do that? It's a very open thing to say. Like, let's say I'm some brokey leechy right now, right? Like, and I got $2,000 to my name. That's it, straight flat out broke. And like, what do I do? I'm like, oh, I want to start. I want to become a stock trader. What do I do?
Well, I would say if you only have a couple thousand,
Yeah.
it you're really not going to get far with that. I would say maybe in that case, it might be smart to work a job for a year or two and to save as much as you can. Like make, come up with just save your entire salary. Don't do a damn thing for a year or two.
Hmm.
Save about a good 50 to 100,000. Then that's a good starting point to actually grow.
Yeah. Yeah. With
Because,
100K, you can
because
do a
like with,
lot.
yeah, with that you can, and you could definitely make that in a couple of years. Like you live at home, you don't pay rent. Paying rent, a lot of young people, the first thing they want to do is they want to move out of the house and they want to be independent, and then they're paying thousands of dollars a month or whatever it is in rent. That's money that you could be putting on the market.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
and think about why they're spending that. They're spending that because they want to be independent, but all they're doing is pushing their independence further into the future.
That's a good point. Yeah, because they're just becoming
Okay,
working wage.
okay,
Yeah.
it's all this shit that people do. Like they want to seem like, oh, I have my shit together. But like when people live at home with their parents, they go, oh, he's a bum. He doesn't make it. To be honest, you don't know that. Okay, where somebody lives, you don't know how much money they have. What do you have their access to their tax returns or some shit? You don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know
Like
exactly what you mean.
so, you know, too many people they spend money to impress other people, and all it does is just bite themselves in the ass.
Yeah.
So I would say you know stay away from rent as much as you can,
Okay.
and
It's a good point.
if you are young and you do buy a new car that you like like I would keep that damn thing as long as you can to actually justify what they're charging for these damn things lately. You know, because they always give you an incentive to lease. Every couple of years, it's like a cell phone. You get rid of the damn thing and you get another one, and then you're gonna have 20 years of payments. And really, think about what a lease is. You're paying during the first couple of years of a car. You know, which is really
What do you define as young, by the way? Like, we talking 18,
I would
19,
say
20?
between 18 to 24, 25.
Yeah, and then move out, or what? Or they should have 50 to 100K when they're 18?
I would say I have something about that. And then once you really because once you have about 50 to 100,000 bucks, right? If you can pay rent with the income, then it doesn't really cost as much because you still have money to fall back on.
Hmm.
Okay, but people when they pay rent, it's like they work paycheck to paycheck. They make a sum of money, they pay it out. Sum of money, pay. You can't continue doing that.
No, that's a good point.
Okay, because too many people do that, and then as soon as they get laid off, boom, they either get evicted or who the hell knows what. It's you know
And then okay,
too many.
let's say I lived with my parents till 25. As you know, I didn't. I moved to
Uh-huh.
America by myself when I was 18. But let's say I did, and I worked a job. I spent fuck all, and now I have 100K. What do I do then?
You
What would your
spent a
next step
hundred
be?
thousand.
No, no, no. I have 100,000. What would my next step be then? What would you recommend then? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, whatever you did to make the 100,000, I would say, you should stop. I mean, like, if you feel comfortable with that, then that's when I would. I mean, hopefully before you make that, that you want to get into trading,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's not like one day you just wake up, oh, I'm going to trade, because you need like time to at least figure out what you're going to use, what industries you're going to look at. This is not like you can't think of. You need time for this, and really, like I said, not a lot of people think like this, because they just want a job, because like, oh, I'm just going to get a check,
Mm-hmm.
and
You
they
know,
never think about they're going to get laid off,
yeah.
or the possibility.
One thing I've
They think that they're gonna
also
uh,
noticed is that jobs are kind of like a graveyard. I know a lot of people that had a lot of great ideas and wanted to become traders, wanted to invest in something, start this type of company, blah blah blah. And when they started working, they become comfortable and they put it off, and then they eventually quit it. That's something I've seen quite a lot, actually.
well, see, people become. How do I explain this? Like, when you work yourself into like a rhythm to where you're doing the same thing every day, that's how you get comfortable.
Yeah, I've seen that quite a lot, and it's quite sad, actually,
And you don't,
because
you know,
like
you don't.
when you're young,
Uh,
you can
go
afford
ahead.
risks. You know what I mean? That's the time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't get comfortable when you're young. That's when you can afford the risks. Let's say you save
Yeah.
100K and you start trading and shit, right? And let's say you do everything,
Mm-hmm.
you fuck up really bad, and you blow 100K like gone, and you're 25. That's fucked up when you're 25. That's really fucked up. But if you do that when you're 55, that's a fucking tragedy. You know what I mean? That could be some pension
Yeah.
money. That's a
Yeah.
fucking
Because
tragedy.
when I first started on the market, I also started managing accounts for some of my family members,
Yeah.
and what I did was things that some people in finance, like, they were like, oh, like, when I was telling them what I was doing, they were like, oh, this is crazy, your parents are older, and they had
I
bonds,
remember
and
that.
I'm
I
like
was
selling
about
the
to
bond,
say, yeah, I was just about to say you dropped the
and
bonds. I
I'm
remember
selling the
that. Yeah,
bonds, and
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, and I'm like, really, at the time, I didn't see a problem, because you know
What are your thoughts on Bell Graham,
unless
though?
you pick on what.
Bell Graham,
I don't know what you're talking
the,
about.
the, the book, The Intelligent Investor, it's written by Bell Graham.
Oh! I didn't hear what you said. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. He
Oh,
advocates bonds
yeah.
quite a lot.
I never read it,
Okay,
but
well,
I have.
he there's a lot of advocating for keeping 50% of your portfolio in bonds.
Well, I want to say. Now, what year was that book written?
Oh, holy shit, 1976 or something. But it's like revised,
All right,
so they have like modern
all right,
examples
all
and
right.
shit.
Okay. Well, see, in '76, if you wanted to get involved in the stock market, it was way harder, because, for one, there was no internet.
Yeah, and it was
So, by
commissions
some
and
miracle, if you had money, without the internet. You needed a broker.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you have a broker, most of the time, like these kinds of brokers, they when you log into an account, like these aren't accounts where you can move money yourself. You need them to do it for you.
Yeah, and they took hella
Okay.
commission, bro. Hella.
Yeah, but that's really besides the point. The point I'm trying to make is the reason they said that was because back then when say if something crazy was happening in the market,
Mhm.
right, and you wanted to get your broker on the phone, but say your broker's on vacation, you don't trust the secretary or whatever the hell's going
Yeah,
on,
I understand.
and then meanwhile you see your money going down.
Mhm. Well,
Okay, that could be a bit of a problem,
well, he did just call it
huh?
for the. He did just call it for the defensive investor, those that don't tolerate that much risk.
Yeah, but really, I mean, risk. Like, okay, I remember years ago, I bought some shares in this company, GW Pharmaceutical, and it was the first. They had the first drug using weed that was FDA approved.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, at the time, if you ran an analysis on this stock, you would like say if you compared
Like FA.
this company to SPY or another index, you would say, "Oh my God, you're taking huge amounts of risk because you know the price fluctuations are going all over the place sometimes."
Mm-hmm.
And you know, but really, like nobody really knows how much risk you're really taking until the day in question comes because you could have a portfolio that seems risky
Yeah.
compared to a portfolio that seems conservative. The conservative stocks could really take a shit
Yeah.
and you could lose more money than the riskier portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
So
You could buy like some
this
CDs or some shit though. Like, you know what I mean?
well CDs.
He did mention
um
it's a while. It's been a few years since I read the book, but I just remember
mhm.
he mentioned CDs, bonds, that kind of thing for locked in
Well,
returns.
first of all, interest rates used to be considerably higher.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
hella.
So when you got a CD
Mm-hmm.
with the rates that they were paying, you were doing all right. It wasn't no percent and a half or 2% for
Oh
a
yeah,
year.
oh yeah.
None
What's
of
a?
that shit.
We gotta
It was
define.
paying way
We gotta define what a
above that.
CD. Can you explain what a CD is, just for people watching?
A CD is a certificate of deposit. Basically, you give X amount of dollars to the bank for a year and a half, whatever the term is,
Mm-hmm.
and they pay you a fixed amount.
Yeah. So a
You
promise of
can
returns.
sometimes what?
So basically, a promise of returns, right?
Yeah. But these used to pay way more than they pay now.
Yeah.
But see, the issue that I have with them is so like if you are just buying securities for the long haul
Yeah.
and like even if the market drops, if you hold on to that, you'll make you'll do all right,
Mm-hmm.
especially with just in general. But with a CD, if you're buying a CD and you have it with like your bank and you have like like have an account with them and it's not like in an IRA or some kind of like deferred account,
Mm-hmm.
all of the gains are income. So
Yeah.
if say you're making 2% and then that's income, so you have to pay like 20-30%, maybe more with the state if they want a piece. So really, by the time you pay, you're making like a percent and change.
Minus inflation.
Yeah,
Yeah. So if we go back to the original question, what someone would do if they want to be a stock trader, what more would you build on? What do you have anything more practical? Any more practical tips? Like, for example, what I mean by that is like, what kind of broker? Where would they start? What would they do when they open their computer? You know what I mean?
I would say um I well recently I saw that Robinhood, they made a lot of improvements
They're commission free
because
now,
when I had what?
they're commission free now, right? For just buying sales of stocks.
Yeah, but I I I don't really know because Robinhood used to do a couple of weird things to where like they would sell the order flow. So whatever you were buying or selling, they would tell a hedge fund what you were doing, and they would try to buy the shares before you could, and then sell them back to you for like a quarter of a penny more or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, like if you're holding for the long term, water under the bridge. But like even the website is better, and they at least have like a number you can call. I'm pretty sure. Like it used to be just email.
Okay.
Like that's it. And they've expanded beyond that. And the other thing that they used to do that kind of annoyed me was, so say like if you had X amount of dollars and you're trying to buy shares, they would require more money than you needed to place the order. So they would want like 15% more or 10% more, something like that. So I would have to like before I would place an order, I would have to friggin' like move money in from another account
Mm-hmm.
in order to place a trade, which I thought was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
So if someone opens up on Robinhood, what do you recommend that they do? Like,
I would start with, to be honest, I would start looking at SPY, just the index, just
what
start
index? Like
there.
VTI, for example.
Yeah, I would just like I would look there, start paying attention to what's going on, at least if you haven't already,
Mm-hmm.
and then start figuring out what industries you want to pay attention to. Like the hot thing right now is AI. So figure out, what companies are making advancements.
So I know you trade on fundamentals more than technical analysis. What type of fundamentals do you use? I assume that'll be something that's interesting for people.
I would say I would say uh the I would say let me think. How do I the well the guidance that they give is pretty important, especially if they revise it down or up.
From earnings.
The guidance is basically, the money that they expect to make
Okay.
before they make it, like quarters ahead. So if
Quarterlies.
so, like over the next what?
Quarterlies.
What do you mean quarterlies?
They release quarterly reports.
Yeah,
Your
yeah, but I'm
annual.
saying like if all of a sudden they go like, oh, we're gonna make less money, we didn't anticipate this, stock is gonna come down
Oh, okay. So
because
announcements. Okay, announcements.
yeah, like pay attention to that. Sometimes even like um sometimes what I'll do is I'll pay attention to companies that supply other companies, because like what can happen is, so like TSMC supplies Samsung. So if there's some bullshit with TSMC, Samsung may get it one way or another.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
um uh
And I want to ask something. Let's say you are. The first thing you mentioned is stay away from rent, like live with your parents when you're young, 18 to 25.
mhm.
What if someone is. What advice would you have to. Because I have a guy that's like 19 or something, 18, 19, 20, I don't know, very young guy. And he's like, fuck this shit. I don't want to have a fucking job. I'd rather be a fucking criminal, right? He does not want to have a fucking job. He does not want to be a wagee. And like, how can I blame him? I've never
Mhm.
been a wagee. You've never been a wagee. Like none of us fucking have. So, what kind of advice would you give for someone that has never to avoid being a wagee?
Well, I'll say that
I I,
a
I,
lot of
I
the
I understand it's very very hard to summarize quickly, so don't worry about
it's
that.
I would say that a lot of the time people are influenced by people that are around them. So if you're around bums,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
that's
That's a
gonna.
very good point actually. Be around wealthy or profitable investors and traders.
I wouldn't say they have to be necessarily wealthy.
Okay.
They could be like you know, trying to figure some shit out. And but you know, it's you know because like, sometimes you know if you hang around the wrong people and then they see you trying to pick up a book, they might make fun of you and be like, "Oh, what's this guy trying to do?" You know?
Be around a beginner. So I wrote be around other beginner or profitable investors and traders. Is that fair?
Yeah,
Like-minded
yeah,
people, honestly.
yeah. Like exactly like mine.
Entrepreneurial people. But how do you get somewhere from being there? Like how do you start trading? How do you get capital? How do you invest?
How to get capital? I mean, well, I mean, like I would, like I said, like I would spend, you know, like your youth, like maybe get a couple of years, you just get a job and just save everything you can.
But what if someone's like, fuck being a wagey, like fuck that shit. I'm
Well,
not doing
it's short term. It's not. I'm not saying spend 40 years at a job.
it. No, what I mean, like, what if someone like is like in a complete refusal to ever be a wagey? Like,
Well, I don't know what to tell them because you know
well, you were
it
never a
takes effort.
wagey, so you know you avoided it. There is a way, you know
Yeah,
what I mean.
there is a way, but it's not typical.
I've made recommendations for it, but I want to hear what yours are.
A lot of people, when they start off with a smaller amount of capital, are discouraged.
What you can do though,
Okay.
this is not possible where I am. I live in Norway, in in Europe. All over Europe, it's pretty much the same. But in America, I mean, you could get like a fixed rate loan when you know you're profitable. You could trade like $1,000 for like 2 3 years, and then if you know you're making like 50% a year, you could get a fixed rate loan and just bang 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 smash that out. It's very
I'm gonna
risky.
do something like that.
It's
No,
very risky.
it's risky be, depending how you're where you're gonna put that money
Hmm. But I'm talking
because
about for
like
a beginner.
I mean it may be risky if it's your first time,
Hmm.
yeah, and like you've never done it before. Maybe maybe it would be smarter to maybe just you know start off with the smaller amount of money that you can afford to lose right off the bat
Yeah,
and kind of experiment.
yeah. Like if I threw this money in the trash right now, would it fuck my life? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So start out small, and then what?
And then over time you grow. I don't know what to say. Like you just, it takes time. Like people think, like you know, like like the market's only for rich people. No, they're there. Everybody that has money at one point didn't. Okay, like so, like
that really depends.
what?
That depends. You said everyone that has money didn't at one point. I mean,
Well,
you could be.
either them or their family or something like that. Like
Yeah,
because money takes time to
yeah,
grow. It doesn't just fall out of the sky.
yeah, yeah. Unless you're Powell, then it actually does,
So,
quite literally.
uh
Okay, so I've written down 9 recommendations. Do you have like a final one?
No.
What about one for option traders? I asked about forex as well, but it's not your field, so let's just say stocks and options. What would you recommend a starting out, you know, options trader?
Honestly, I wouldn't recommend buying options unless they were pretty far out because it, especially in an environment with these potential trade wars,